This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It sounds like you're excited about my theory. I don't know. I don't want to oversell it here, but it's just a theory.
I'll just be honest. I'm more entertained on days that you say crazy things.
Okay.
They make better promos, that's for sure.
I hope to live up to it then. Mm-hmm. Okay. I hope to live up to it. You know, just hearing whoever they signed for $1 million, it kind of makes me feel like now you got like defensive backs and offensive linemen making more in college than like major league relievers that you really need those guys too, right? Whether they're setup men or closers or DHs or things like that. Now, it's not Juan Soto money, but I mean, it's real money. I mean, we throw $1 million around like, it's $1 million, you know. And meanwhile, none of us come anywhere near close to making seven figures, right? Or anything along those lines.
Yeah, I don't act like it's not a big deal. I'm still. Let's just face it. I'm still stuck.
Stuck or stunned?
I'm stuck 10 years ago, you know, thinking that, you know, the cost of an education and room and board and all the above is a great opportunity for these young men and women to come play sports in college. And it's a great opportunity and they should take advantage of it. I'm also one that I feel like is decently understanding in that there were some really stupid NCAA rules that prohibited these young men and women from, being able to make a little money on the side and supplement what they were doing just because they needed some spending money and all that kind of stuff. But I think we've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other with no in between. And I'll just be honest, my passion for college athletics is different than it used to be.
Okay. That's all.
So I'm not sitting here going, no big deal. Now we're paying the guy $1.2 million. We just bought a pitcher for $1.1 million. No big deal. It's normal. Yeah. Yeah. No, it feels cheesy to me.
Okay.
But I mean, I know I'm the minority, and I
don't know if you're the minority.
I still want the Red Raiders to win, whether they're using players that they've raised up from birth or using players that we bought from another school.
Okay.
I still want them to win.
Yeah. Hey, you'll still be there. Or,
yep.
You know, you'll be.
I still want them to win.
Checking out the score and all that kind of stuff. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I will say, and there's a comment here. Good use of at least the English language and grammar. Thanks to you guys, I always look to see if Bill is a ref when watching women's hoops.
Do we know what Bill looks like?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Okay. Bill, what Bill looks like. Oh, man. That's it. You know, it was just frustrating last night going down the stretch, you know, and feeling like that you had a chance to win the ball game. You were doing really good on getting points off turnovers against SMU and limiting them. Like at the end of 3, you had 16 points off turnovers. They had 5, and then they capitalized because Tech in the fourth quarter committed 3 turnovers, and they got 7 points off those 3 turnovers or 4 turnovers. Yeah, 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter, and they got 7 points off those 4. And meanwhile, in the fourth quarter for Texas Tech, you got 6, but that was you were giving up too many second chance points because they got 5 second chance points as well. And the rebounding left a lot to be desired. Shantae Embry, even though she was like 3 of 14 last night, she played like a woman possessed. For as physical as she played last night, and she played very physical, she only got 1 foul. And I'm not saying that she should have gotten 2 or 3 or 4 more. I'm just telling you, she played physical without fouling, and she was a presence and a real menace
And does it stink a little bit more knowing that she
played for you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It always, sure. No question about it. So at any rate, that's that. And they'll go to Arkansas on Sunday and take on the Razorbacks. So you hope that, man, we had a good crowd last night too. A lot of parents in the crowd. Kelsey Baker, the former Lady Raider, was there. Sydney Goodson, who just got married, was there. I didn't see Sid last night. Some former assistant coaches and director of operations and people like that. And Jada Wynn's dad, who's a coach, Division I assistant, he was there. His team was Idle, and her mom was there as well, former head coach at Washington. But, man, and she had a tough night, Jada did. She was 0 of 5 from distance. She could not dial 8 last night to save her life. Okay? Could not dial 8 to save her life last night. Do you know what the dial 8 is?
I think you've told us before. I guess back in the day you had to dial 8 to go to
at a hotel.
Call.
Yeah, to make a long-distance call.
Okay.
Yeah, dial 8. So, yeah. There's a lot of things I've told you before that I tell you again.
I listen.
And again.
I listen. You think I'm not paying attention?
No, I know you are. I know you are. I'm just trying. I try not to bore you. That's what I try not to do. As best.
It's very kind of you.
As best I can, and our fine listening audience as well. I didn't see. We got a report yesterday from Dan in Dallas. I think he's in New Jersey or New York, but I'm disappointed that he didn't make it back to Dallas for that ball game last night. Mm-hmm. Whatever he's, business or pleasure or combination thereof in Big Apple, he didn't make it back to Big D to see his team playing over there at Moody Coliseum. So
I'm sure he's disappointed he didn't make it back to see you.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, right. And there's Moody Coliseum's not impressive. It was cool to see it. I'd never seen it before. It's nothing I'd trade for. Kind of remind me a little bit. The ceiling is low, like Lloyd Noble and Norman, and the way that the bleachers kind of come back to the back on the home team side kind of reminded me of Stillwater and Gallagher-Iba a little bit, and the steepness of the seats in the upper deck as well. So,
the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is 12th day of December 2024. 2 weeks from today, Boxing Day, but it's the 12th day of December today with Jeff McGuire. The 26th, the day after Christmas, is known as Boxing Day.
Right. For some reason, I was thinking it was 24th. I knew that wasn't right.
That's
I was
Christmas
like,
Eve.
I'm doing something right. No, I knew that wasn't right. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay. I was just trying to help you.
1930 is where we will start. Baseball Rules Committee greatly revises the rule book. A ball now bouncing into the stands is no longer a home run, gentlemen. It is a book rule double. So people have been wrong since 1930. It's a long time to be wrong, Jamie. Thank you for showing us the light.
Do you regret that, Jamie?
No, I don't regret it. I don't know. I feel bad that people are bothered by it.
I'm not bothered by it.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's anytime you think you know something and all of a sudden you realize for a long time you were inaccurate.
Yeah. I've had those moments.
Oh, I have too, where I've been
many
certain,
of those moments.
Where I've been so certain that it was a certain player that did a certain thing, or it was a certain year or a certain game, and come to find out it was a completely different year, and you're like, man, that was dumb for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never mad at the person who corrected me.
Yeah.
1965, Chicago halfback Gale Sayers ties an NFL record for the most touchdowns in a game with 6 in a 61-20 victory over the San Francisco 49ers at Wrigley Field. 1987, Mookie Blaylock sets an NBA record of 13 steals in a single game.
Wow.
Mookie Blaylock and Ricky Amazing Grace, they it's quite a tandem. They're pretty good together.
Ricky Grace?
Ricky Amazing Grace.
I don't know who Ricky Grace is.
He played at Oklahoma. I think he played at Midland too, Midland Community College, along with Mookie Blaylock.
I've never heard of Ricky Grace.
All right, big signing in Major League Baseball in this day in 1997. Hope you guys are sitting down for this one. Red Sox signed Pedro Martinez to a record 6-year, $69 million contract.
Wow.
That was it. That was the whole.
What would he get on the open market today?
A lot.
Yeah.
Choice pointed out to me the other day, he said, that Soto's contract is bigger than Judge and Mookie Betts combined.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
2 MVPs.
2004. Chelsea Dabbs scores 24 points, and the number 13 Texas Tech Lady Raiders allow only 11 first-half points in an 86-38 win over Mississippi.
What year was that?
2004. Okay. And in 2011, the 77th Heisman Trophy Award goes to Robert Griffin III, quarterback out of Baylor. Happy National Ambrosia Day.
You're going to have to help me with ambrosia.
This is the apple, peach, tangerine, not tangerine. What's the mini oranges, slices, marshmallow, coconut, cherry thing?
Is it a drink?
It's a dessert. It's a dessert.
It's a stud basketball player for Monterey. That's what it is.
Why can't we just have apple pie, cherry pie, pumpkin pie?
Oh no, this is good
lemon
stuff.
Meringue,
this is good
rhubarb.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. This is good.
I'm pretty sure I would pass on this. Jamie, would you pass on the ambrosia?
Doesn't sound like something I'd love.
Yeah, me neither.
It's like a borderline fruit salad kind of thing. Is how another way I would describe it. It's tasty with marshmallows. Happy birthday, Jennifer Conley, who's 54. Tyron Smith, 34, and Ed Oliver is 27.
Golly, he's still a menace. He plays for your Buffalo Bills now.
He has for a while.
Yeah, right. But I mean,
since he was drafted.
Right, but I mean, well, I don't think he was drafted by the Bills. I think he signed there as a free agent.
Who?
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, yes, he was drafted by Buffalo.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. He's been there the whole time.
Mandarin oranges, thank you, off the Yates Learning Center chat line. It's a little itty bitty with slices.
Yeah, I don't like those either.
Yeah. And in this day, 1980, American oil tycoon Armand Hammer pays $5,126,000 at auction for a notebook containing writings by the legendary artist Leonardo da Vinci. The bidding started at $1.4 million and lasted less than 2 minutes, as Hammer and at least three other bidders competed to raise the price $100,000 at a time. The $5.12 million price tag was the highest ever paid for a manuscript. At that time, a copy of the legendary Gutenberg Bible had gone for $2 million in 1978. Hammond said, quote, "I'm very happy with the price. I expected to pay more. There's a lot of work of art. There's no other work of art that I wanted more than this." Lord Coke, who actually was auctioning off the item, on the other hand, was reasonably happy with the sale. He claimed that the proceeds would not be sufficient to cover the taxes that he owed. $5 million in taxes. I'm just saying, maybe pay the IRS.
This is Arm & Hammer, the yellow box guy that you put in your refrigerator to keep it from
I don't know
smelling?
if it's that guy. Well, this is an oil tycoon. So
okay, too. Okay.
I don't think it's Arm & Hammer.
Armand. Okay. I was
that's Arm and Hammer.
Okay.
This is just Armand.
Armand. Okay. Right.
$5.126 million, and the proceeds were not enough to pay his taxes. Wow.
In 1980.
1980, yeah.
Yeah, 1980 money.
Homeboy. Got to work with the IRS there, man. And that is this day in sports history.
Yeah, when they tell you, hey, we need you to file by April the 15th, they get serious about it sometimes.
That's not a joke.
No, it's not. It's not a joke, and they mean that. Somebody says this. I was away from the radio. Who did Chuck say was paid $1 million? It was some relief pitcher somewhere, and I was just making a comment that, when you hear that, and then you think about the guys that we're getting, you pay $1 million here, $2 million there. I have no idea how much these new hands that are going to come here and play are going to be paid. I'm sure handsomely, because they were sought after. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that they'll, much like the new offensive and defensive coordinators, the amount of money that they're going to be paid is substantial, because Texas Tech was apparently in competition at peers with other schools to try to hire these guys, and as a result, they benefited. The two new hires benefited by doing that. So at any rate, let's see. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Just one college football game this weekend. It's a biggie. You've got Army-Navy. Mm-hmm. Do you pick one to root for, or you just watch the game and enjoy the pageantry and everything that's going on, or will you root for Army because of the Abernathy connection?
I'll definitely root for Bryson Daly, but as you know, my daughter worked at Army this summer, so I definitely have an appreciation for Army, and so I'll be pulling hard for them. Okay.
Jeff, any...
In this game, I usually go for who's wearing the better uniforms, because they both really do it up well. Mm-hmm. Navy's using the Jolly Rogers. We're going Navy this year.
Okay. Okay.
Skull and Crossbones. Yeah, we're going there. Army's uniforms are sharp too. Don't get me wrong, but Navy won the uniform battle this year.
Okay. All right. Just before 7 this morning on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll continue. We'll march on, as they say. And we'll have Army-Navy for you Saturday at 1 on 100.7 The Score.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. And Chuck Heinz will have NFL football on the air tonight. I think they thought this was going to be a good game when they scheduled it. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good game, but the 49ers are pretty beat up, and doesn't appear that they're going to make the playoffs, and they were all in to try to get back in and win a Super Bowl. They'll take on the Rams tonight. They'll host them. Coverage at 6:30 on 100.7 The Score tonight. Okay. We always talk about when brackets come out, there's controversy, and this team didn't get in or that team didn't get in. Joel,
that's amazing, because ESPN would have you believe this is the first bracket in the history of ever.
History of ever, right? Yeah. Right. Joel Klatt, he is a Fox analyst and played football at Colorado. Okay. He took to X on Sunday, and then has also commented on podcasts about the committee and called the job that they did horrendous. Horrendous. He also says that they manipulated what their process is to get SMU in this playoff. He said, I believe that they manipulated what their process actually is to get SMU in this playoffs. They put them in at number 11, which is one spot higher than the team that actually beat them, which also doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But what they gave us, it's an artificial floor. They're pulling the levers of power in order to create something that wasn't going to be created if they did it right. It sounds good in theory, but it hurts the playoff overall, and it hurts the integrity of the playoff. I believe that what the committee gave us sounds really good in theory, and you can defend it in theory, and it sounds good on social media. In a lot of ways, they kind of play to the masses, let them eat cake, because the sentiment was on SMU's side. I don't disagree with that, other than the factor that you have to manipulate it to make it happen.
Okay, how?
He says the manipulation barb, some say his manipulation barb falls short when you realize that the case for Alabama over SMU equally twists whatever stats and arguments you want to cite. It's not manipulation that Alabama lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma as huge favorites. It's not manipulation that in spite of SEC country freaking out over non-conference scheduling, that the Tide played Western Kentucky, South Florida, 5-7 Wisconsin, and FCS Mercer, failing to boost their resume. Cladd also brought up the best versus most deserving argument, which again leans into nothing but hypotheticals. Because, as this article points out, if Alabama truly was the best, they had plenty of chances to prove it. They would be in the playoff had they not failed spectacularly against Vandy and Oklahoma.
I mean, they have 3 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. You asked me, is Alabama one of the best 12 teams in the country? I probably would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have 3 losses, you just don't have much of a leg to stand on here.
Yeah, especially when, I mean, you could have, let's face it, Alabama could have.
And you didn't play in your conference championship game.
Yeah.
If the third one was a conference championship game, maybe, but.
You could have survived the loss to Vandy if you were Alabama, if you had beaten Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, I mean, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This article also points out that SMU had an easier schedule, lost their conference championship game on a 56-yard field goal. They deserved the spot even when they
didn't beat a single top 25 team.
Didn't beat a single top 25 team. So, I mean, there were a number of people on that committee. It's hard to manipulate all of them, right? I think.
Were the people manipulated, or did the people manipulate?
Or did they just...
Why would the people want SMU?
Yeah.
Because they wanted to bring the Dallas market into it? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not buying that.
I mean, if anything, they would have manipulated to bring in Alabama because of the SEC factor.
Yeah. As I said on Monday, I just feel like when you got to about 9 or 10 through about 16, it's all so close. It's all so close.
Okay, so
I mean, the bigger issue for me is Indiana.
Yeah.
Than either SMU, who at least played in a conference championship game, or Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana only lost 1 game. Alabama, you shouldn't have lost to the teams you lost to. You shouldn't have lost 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. They may be, with their talent base, one of the best 12 teams. Okay, but they didn't perform. So, I mean, you get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, play better. Play better. You put yourself in this situation. And again, if SMU and Alabama lined up tomorrow in neutral site, I'd probably predict Alabama to win. But I'm just saying, you kind of lose the fight there. You know, you lose your argument when you lose the 3 games that you lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't see any or hear any big braggadocious kind of comments from SMU last night. You know, there was nothing, no announcements or on the scoreboard or anything. Join the ponies as they go to the college. I didn't see any of that last night. You know, I saw their football truck lined up. Looked like they were getting ready to start loading stuff up on it. I'm like, oh, that thing's going to Penn State. It's probably got to hit the road here pretty quick. It's a long ways just from Dallas to Happy Valley. A lot of winding roads.
Sure.
Probably got to take a couple of drivers with them.
Do they refer to themselves as ponies?
Well, they have pony power. I mean, they had a picture up that had some graphics in the Coliseum.
That seems a little odd to me, because if they're Mustangs, that means like fully grown. We're here. We've arrived. I mean, ponies feels like, oh, look, it's a cute little pony. Like, I would think that if I was a Mustang, I wouldn't want to be called a pony.
I'm pretty sure.
But I was a full-grown Mustang.
I'm pretty sure I saw it, but
I mean, like, people are referring to us as the Little Raiders.
Well, they have Pony.
Little
They
Raiders.
have Pony Up Dallas. I see a sign that from a picture I took yesterday. Pony Up Dallas.
And what are you going to do with that picture?
No, nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
The Christmas card kind of stuff?
Oh, no.
You and Mark take a picture in front of it?
Oh, we take a picture, and we before every game, and try to help publicize
Sure.
our broadcast.
As you should.
What we're doing. I sent you a picture of a GA who had an orange sherbet shoe and a lime sherbet shoe, and then their star player Nia Robertson. She had the same act going on, and I mean, this is a gal that's third in the ACC, 13th in the nation in scoring, and the Lady Raiders held her scoreless for 3 quarters. And
then she scored 14 in the fourth.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. You kind of left out the punchline.
Well, I was getting to that. I was getting to that.
Buried the lead.
Yeah. You know, she was 0 of 6 and 0 of 1. And then she eventually fouled out, but fouled out too late before it could help you. But yeah, I saw those shoes and I went, oh my God. So I sent you and Choice a picture of those shoes. Just now I'm compelled every time I see, you know, weird shoes like that. It's like, what? And, you know, the Lady Raiders have some weird shoes too. I mean, nobody can wear their school colors. It's weird like that. But, oh well, what are you going to do? Bullfighter said, perfect time for Sorry About You. Was that like for Alabama?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama. Yeah. Sorry About You, Alabama.
Yeah, when you lose 3 games, it's hard to argue too much for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And Juan brings up that at one point in time they were known as the Pony Express when they had Craig James and Eric Dickerson. Did not see Craig James there last night.
I heard when I was listening to the radio broadcast of the ACC championship game, both of those guys were down there on the sideline.
Yeah,
I thought that was
true.
cool for SMU.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, today's question involves all of Texas Tech athletics.
Okay.
The 2024 year. I want you to tell me the 2 days that were most disappointing and the 2 days that you were the most excited.
They could be the same day.
Okay.
I mean,
that would be weird, but okay.
They could be the same day because one of the most anticipated days that I thought was going to be an exciting day was the day that you played Colorado. I mean, we had an excellent Optimum Game Day Live. We had a lot of activity around, you know, the stadium. We had a packed house. And then at the end of the day, it was extremely disappointing. So I guess
okay.
that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? But I'm sure that there's probably better days and worse days that I could probably come up with. But I have to have a calendar and stuff in front of me and, oh yeah, that day. Oh yeah, that day. Oh yeah, that day. Jeff?
I'm trying to think back to, you know, basketball season last year.
Right.
And there's not one that just giant jumps out at me. But the feeling I had all season, it's not one day, though. And I don't want to pick your going into the NCAA tournament because you lost that first game. However, you lost to a team that was a buzzsaw and took dang near everybody out in the tournament. So it's nothing to be upset about. You look at the baseball season, and there was some struggles there, but I don't think any of those struggles would be comparable to the Baylor loss this year in football.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know which one was worse, the Baylor loss or the TCU loss. Baylor, you got smoked. TCU, you had a lead and lost it. And I found that one more frustrating.
But boy, the Baylor one was a real bummer because you sure went into that game thinking that you were going to win that game.
Yeah, you felt really good, but like within 5 minutes of the start of that game, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be one of these days. Yeah. Huh. Okay.
I'm not even sure 5 minutes is fair.
Yeah.
You kicked the ball off and went, oh, this is going to suck.
Yeah. With the TCU, the disappointment, and you should have won that game. You absolutely should have won. That's the one that I look at this year that I'm like, what the blank? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go TCU for disappointing. Although I don't know it's your worst loss, but most disappointed because you should have won. Best day? End of the Big 12 basketball season, knowing that you tied for third in this basketball conference on a team with a brand new head coach that had no expectations coming in a year after not making the NCAA tournament. That was a really good feeling that day. And I know it's a culmination of everything going up to it, but that's where I'd put it, because you were back in the tournament and you were starting to feel good about things for basketball.
I feel like this is a trick question because
you could, because I asked for two of each and you could only give one of each.
Right.
How much you want one of each? Okay. Second best day would be beating Oklahoma State.
I'm going to start emailing this to you guys ahead of time, I guess.
Well, I mean, especially the hard questions.
I don't know.
Like the hard questions where you got to think about, well, like, who's like the best, Red Raider over the last 365 days? Like, man, I could barely remember yesterday, and I got to go back to April. Because I'm thinking we had a national championship in track, and that was a good day. And then somebody brings that up on the chat line. What is wrong with you all? You're new. This is a new listener. Best day, indoor track and field national champs. What is wrong with you all? Should be a question mark at the end. Chuck makes every question hard. I do. Even when the waitress comes by and says, "What would you like today, sir?"
Jamie, what were yours?
Okay, can I answer now,
sure,
or are we just going to
mumble?
No. Okay.
No, go right ahead.
Okay. The two most disappointing days for me, I would say definitely the TCU football loss, and on a road trip that you had in the baseball season this year. You win game one against TCU on Friday, lose the next two, both by. You lose by 2, you lose by 1, and then you go to you continue that road trip to Arkansas and lose by 1 both games against the number 2 team in the country. So I'm going to say my other disappointing one is just the culmination that Wednesday when you lose your third consecutive game by 1 run. Could have won both those games in Arkansas. Lost the series at TCU, and just your offense just went away. And so that by that Wednesday, it was, pretty bad at that point. Most exciting day, or two most excited I was the day you beat Oklahoma State in football on the road. Just don't beat those guys very often, especially on the road. And Big 12 baseball tournament, first round, 8th inning 2-run homer to beat Texas. And Texas went 0-2 in the Big 12 tournament and was sent packing. So to be a team that helped send the Longhorns packing in their last Big 12 tournament was enjoyable, and to beat them one last time as a member of the Big 12 was pretty cool too. So those would be my 2 days. The excitement part that I can remember being the most happy.
Pumped up about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I almost gave a non-playing the games answer for like Chuck. And said, but it was kind of not the day we knew it was coming, right? The day that Dad packed up his bags and moved out and Mom's new boyfriend moved in, a.k.a. the day we switched to Adidas. That's pretty heartbreaking, but we knew that was coming for quite a while.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Totally would have gotten it for you. Totally would have gotten it, and why you were disappointed.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, like I said, I knew that was coming for a year or so. So
yeah.
It wasn't like it was a shock that day.
Sure. Somebody says this, Chuck, it wasn't a question. It was a declarative statement. Oh, okay. Okay. I bet Chuck looks at directions on how to use a shovel. No. I've had a shovel before. I don't have one right now.
Is it next to your screwdriver?
I was in my shed. I used it to shovel snow, but now I don't worry about that because it's just going to melt.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. With Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, and Chuck Heinz, we come to you, as we normally do, from the First United Bank studio. Yates Flooring Center chat line, it is open for you. It's open all the time. There's not always somebody to hit play, but I mean you can post 3 o'clock in the morning if you'd like, and then we'll eventually get to you.
You can send. You can't post.
Send.
But.
You can send. Yes, send is the proper use of the term there. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open right now at 806-771-0973. I wish maybe we could get one of those signs, like, where at the donut shop where it says hot donuts now and it kind of flashes and it's in neon, kind of in script. Maybe we could have a nice big sign put up outside right there at the compound, right where you kind of drive by where you could see, and hot takes now, where they could call us, know when to call us.
I think we'd get better response if we had a sign that said hot cakes now.
Well, then people would go like, hot cakes. Is that like cake, or is that, like hot cakes? Hot cakes, which are kind of like pancakes.
Right. That's what I think of when I think of hot cakes.
Yeah.
Either is good with me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I just saw this, and I'm curious if you know anything about it, and I apologize if I'm hitting you where you don't know something, but I'm
happens all the time.
I'm going to feel like that you're going to have some kind of knowledge, or you could get some direct knowledge of this. This was a couple of days ago, and I'm just now seeing it. Josh Young has announced that his first backyard battle wiffle ball tournament will take place at Globe Life Field to raise funds for the Miracle League.
I have not heard about this. That's awesome.
Yes. Is that something that you would want to participate in and maybe get a team together and go down there to represent?
When is it?
I don't know when it is. My guess is it's going to be at some point in time this winter, right? Because he's got to get off to spring training.
Yes. I would love to take, just the whole crew of us down there.
Yeah,
it's just we all drive down there and play wiffle ball. And
could we get a van and all go together?
No, I'm not. I'm
out. Can we get a bus and all go together?
I'm out.
No.
I'm out.
You're out because you feel like there'd be too much talking.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. That would be the longest 5 hours.
This will come as
life.
a shock to you. I don't think last night Fink and I talked at all to each other on the bus. We've been talking all day.
Your team had just lost.
I know, but there were others talking.
Basically, just zip it up.
I know. Well, we're pretty good about that. Others were talking, but I think the point was, I think we were all talked out, and I just I think that's a headline. With both of us were to say, we're kind of all talked out. Don't you think?
It's a headline.
Here's the thing.
News, I guess I wasn't looking for.
No,
but
I know that.
Maybe it was the headline. I don't know.
Bullfighter says it's January the 12th. Okay.
January the 12th. Okay. I'm Googling right now. I got to find out information.
Here's the thing, Chuck. With regards
what's it called? Backyard
battle wiffle ball tournament at Globe Life Field. Not park, because they don't have a roof for that. Because if it's really cold or rainy or icy, people wouldn't want to play. They'll have the roof closed for this, Jamie.
Family and friends like to have their better general admission tickets, $25.
Yeah, but how do you get to play?
I know. I'm trying to figure that out. Fees, $145 per team.
Okay.
Okay.
Seems like that's something we could get covered.
Team size, 3 to 4 players.
Okay.
January 12th, Sunday, January 12th. Well, I know the daughter doesn't have a basketball game on a Sunday.
I kind of feel like that I wouldn't make the cut if it's only 3 to 4 players. I kind of feel like it needs to be 10 to 12 for me to make the cut with you. I realize only usually 9 play, but I mean, you got to have reserves, people to pinch hit and stuff like that.
Actually, I was just I'm gonna like hit up Steven Smith, Eric Gutierrez, all of my favorite former Red Raider players, and I'll be the bad guy. Yeah, I'll be the bad player, right?
I thought maybe you were going to take your double T 97.3 100.7 score
Brian
teammates.
Klein.
I don't know that the problem is that wouldn't be fair because Josh would see all of them and be like, guys, what are you doing here?
Or maybe Cody Masters is in town.
I'm available.
I'll take those guys and I'll just watch. How about that?
I'm available. Tech plays TCU on the 11th.
You are available.
I'm available.
Okay, thanks. That's important to know.
Sorry, Goot. Can't put you on the team. Chuck wants to play.
Although I would need to check the NFL playoff schedule to see what's going on January the 11th. Right? Might even still be regular season stuff going. Do you know that they're thinking about getting to 18 games? They've got a study going on. What is the study? The study, they're probably going to say, well, it's some kind of health study so we can see if the players are really going to be affected by playing 18 games. Well, no, duh, of course they are. But think of the money that they'll get by having another week of regular season football, which is what it's, at the end of the day, all about, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, do I think we're going to have 18 games in the NFL? Yes. Do I think we're eventually going to have a 32-team NCAA tournament field? Yes.
32 for football?
Yes.
For college football?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they've got to figure out a way to make these bowl games relevant beyond, oh, hey, woohoo, let's go to the bowl game. And I'm all for going to the bowl game, but make it so that it's, I think you're going to have this, the success of these home playoff games is going to be through the roof. And these college athletic directors and
well, if they're home games, how are they going to make the bowl games relevant?
Well, eventually, again, if you have 32 teams, 16 games would be at home for the first round, and the next round can be at bowl sites. Or just make them 32, or they'll say, you know what? It's too uneven with regard to a home site. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 32 games, and we're going to put everybody at a bowl site for round 1, and then round 2, and then round 3. I'm telling you, man, the economics of having bowls as exhibition games, that is like the way of the dinosaur. There's going to be a big meteor that's going to hit all these bowl sites, and all these bowl games are going to be dinosaurs, and the college football playoff is going to take them over. It's going to be like Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exciting.
That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.